Hello everyone, welcome to the Neurophysiology lecture series by Raaonline. Today we will be seeing about one of the important subcortical structure that is concerned with the motor functions, basal ganglia. Let me walk you all through the following topics. We will be seeing about functional anatomy of the basal ganglia, which is all about the nuclei of the basal ganglia. There are so many nuclei, input and output nuclei. We'll be seeing all those things, and we'll be seeing about the connections within the nuclei and also with the nuclei and outside the basal ganglia, say for example the cortex. Specifically, we'll be seeing about the importance of one particular pathway, that is the nigrostriatal pathway, and we'll see about the functions of basal ganglia. Finally, we'll end with the conditions that are associated with the dysfunction of the basal ganglia and its nuclei. Now, what is basal ganglia? It is nothing but an accessory motor system, okay, and they are composed of nuclei, we saw that, and they are in close contact with the cerebral cortex, that is the main part of the motor activity which is started in the motor cortex, and the execution part is done by the corticospinal tract predominantly. Okay, so this basal ganglia and its nuclei, they are in close contact with these two systems, that is the cerebral cortex as well as the corticospinal tracts. Okay, that's how it helps in the smooth pursuit of the motor activity. This is a picture showing the basal ganglia and its related structures. For example, this is all the pink colored structures are basal ganglia, and wherein you have got a very important associated structure, that is a thalamus to the basal ganglia. Okay, and here is the cerebellum, you know that, and this is one part of the basal ganglia, that is substantia nigra, that we will be seeing in detail the next slides. So this is the structure of the basal ganglia. This is the location of the basal ganglia. Basal ganglia lies in the subcortical layer, that is above the basal ganglia there is a cerebral cortical mantle is present. Okay, so this is the basal ganglia. You can see the expanded portion of the basal ganglia. This C-shaped structure or the nucleus is called as the caudate nucleus. Okay, and then you have got to the inner aspect of the caudate nucleus, we have got another structure called as the putamen. Okay, and interior to the putamen lies the globus pallidus. There are two segments of the globus pallidus externa and globus pallidus interna. Okay, and just you can see, if you cut open these structures, you can see the subthalamic nucleus, the blue colored structure lying beneath all these nucleus, and below that will be the substantia nigra. Everything are in close contact with a very important relay station, that is the thalamus. Okay, so this 5 nucleus, caudate nucleus, putamen, globus pallidus, subthalamic nucleus and substantia nigra are the 5 important nucleus of the basal ganglia. Substantia nigra, again it has got two components, substantia nigra pars compacta and substantia nigra pars reticulata. So this is the cut section of the brain showing the different parts of the basal ganglia. Okay, so you know this is the lateral ventricle, third ventricle and the fourth ventricle, and this is the thalamus. Okay, and just above the thalamus you have got the caudate nucleus, which is a C-shaped structure. We are just seeing the one area as a cross section. Okay, and this is the putamen, and these two segments are called as globus pallidus, interna and externa. This is the subthalamic nucleus and this is the substantia nigra. Substantia nigra has a high content of copper and it is quite darkly pigmented. That is why it is called as nigra. Nigra means pigmented. Okay, so this is all about substantia nigra. So these 5 nuclei, caudate, putamen, globus pallidus, subthalamic nucleus, which is otherwise called as body of lice, and substantia nigra, which is composed of pars compacta and reticularis. In this, the caudate and the putamen are together called as the striatum. Striatum is nothing but the cortex. Like how we have got cerebral cortex, the cortex of the basal ganglia is also called as striatum, okay, or neostriatum. Putamen and globus pallidus together called as lenticular nucleus. Now, there are these 5 types of nuclei. In this, few nuclei serves as an input nuclei and few nuclei serves as an output nuclei. What are these input nuclei? The one and only nuclei that receives motor related information is this corpus striatum, that is the caudate and the putamen. Okay, so this is the only nucleus which is receiving the afferent fibers related to the motor activity from various parts of the brain and other structures. Output nuclei, it is always the globus pallidus interna segment that gives the output from the basal ganglia. Okay, and substantia nigra pars reticularis also has some role in this output relay information. Then other nucleus, that is the intermediate nuclei like globus pallidus externa, subthalamic nucleus, substantia nigra pars compacta, all these nuclei, they serve to integrate the various motor impulses within the basal ganglia. So there occurs internal circuit connections between these nuclei input and the output, and with that of the intermediate nuclei, and the final output related to the motor activity is executed from this globus pallidus interna segment.